What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing balls, bend the corner, set my mind up on a goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now they ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now they ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Welcome in. We are back. Tell the Truth, episode 100.
We are back.
100 episodes, man. My guy, DG, CJ, I am
This is
DMac.
100?
This is episode 100. Yes, it is.
Wow.
100, baby.
What a show to be on 100.
What a time.
Y'all
what a
gonna
time
like
for us
this
to come
one.
up on 100, man. This is hilarious, to say the least.
The end is near.
It is near.
DG sarcasm and country sarcasm gonna ruin Chief's Twitter. Boy, I tell you.
It was very
Over,
funny.
fellas.
Sarcastic DG, that need to be his Twitter name.
It's over, dog.
And keep it
Because-
prolific, no boat.
Obviously the banner at the bottom is a well-timed bye week. I think in a multitude of ways in which we'll kind of get into. I think that it is a good time for a level set. So this is going to be a little bit different of a Tell the Truth episode. We're not necessarily going to discuss the game. We'll get into that a little bit in our show next week, and we can break down the film from that perspective. But I want to do a mid-season reset. I want to do a panic meter as far as where we're at with some of the issues on this team. And then I also want to have a larger conversation that it appears that is now been prompted by coming off of a nice 3-game win streak, one loss, the 5th straight time in which the Chiefs have gone on the road, or I should say the Chiefs have faced Josh Allen in the regular season and lost. And so obviously a lot of things have happened in the last 48 hours. Obviously Chiefs suffer a loss in Highmark Stadium, 28-21. A game that was, I would say, handily in the favor of the Bills, and through some Mahomes magic was close in a lot of ways, and I'll admit also a well-timed defensive stop on top of that. And it was tough to watch in a lot of ways, I think, specifically for the offensive game plan regression, and that was a difficult thing. Then you fold into the issues that you saw out there and have an opportunity the last 24 hours in which the Chiefs did not make any trade deadline moves, much to many people on Chiefs Twitter chagrin. There were multiple trade deadline rumors, which we'll get into a little bit later on as well. Question I got for you guys before we get into the minute details. Where are you guys at, man? How you feeling? Are you ready to jump off the bridge? Are you ready to crash the car? Are you relaxed? Are you're like, where are we at as far as a temperature check of just us as Chiefs fans in the middle of this season at 5-4 and the roller coaster that it's felt like to get to this point?
The end is near, fellas.
Stop listening to DJ.
The
Stop.
end is near. It is over. The end is near. That's it. We didn't make any moves. It's all over with. There's no way you can sustain this type of success for this long and not be aggressive at the trade deadline. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over.
Hey, go ahead. Get deep.
It's done. Done. You can't win like this. You can't be not aggressive at the deadline and not win.
Tobias Harris over me.
Breece Hall was the difference. Do you know that Breece Hall can not only run the ball,
He can rush the passer.
he can also rush the quarterback.
He can do all that.
Put him in safety. Put him in corner. Put him in linebacker.
He does all that.
Hell, he could take Patrick Mahomes' job. It's over.
I do think that Breece Hall
That's
could
funny.
rush the passer a little bit better than some of the Chiefs' edge rushers.
He probably could.
He probably could. Shit, the way we've been, hey,
To be fair.
after Sunday, overall, I'm the calm one out of the group. Don't listen to DG. DG is our designated troll on the team, and you need people like DG. So clap it up for DG, everyone. Give him a round of applause. You bring the laughter and the joy. I'm gonna bring us down to like level. For anybody who listened to 96.5 The Fan today, engaged in the fire pit that is Chiefs Twitter, like DMac stated, or some of our older statesman fans who have Facebook groups, which are hilarious. That's where the real comedy is. If you want to see something funny, boy, go in a Facebook Chief group chat. You'll cry all day. That's funny. Endless tears. I'm calm, DMac. I'm like at on the panic meter over thing, I'm like a 4, 5. Like I'm middle. Like I'm not overreacting to everything, but I'm not gonna act like it's nothing either. Overall, where our season is right now, are there a couple losses I like to have back? Absolutely. The first one being the Eagles one, because that was literally one play away from being that one. The Jaguars one was literally one play away from being that one. So we would be sitting at what, 7-2 right now if a couple of plays go our way in those two games. So and that's with
not to quickly interject, but I'll say I do think the Jaguars one hurts a little bit more, because we played better in that game and we had our guys back. That's the one that hurts, and honestly, probably hurts really in the larger context if you're talking about where the Chiefs are in relation to the standings too. That Jaguars one definitely does. Keep going though.
For sure. No, that one hurts. The Eagles one for me, because coming into the game, we literally did everything in our power to put ourselves in a position to win that game, and then we dropped the ball on the goal line. That's the one that's the most disappointing to me, because Travis Kelce makes that play 10 out of 10 times his whole career, and he got lazy 1 second, and that led to an interception. Ironically, he did that in the Commanders game too. But overall, a lot of the mistakes that we made offensively were correctable. I kind of expected this, and you know how we know how the Buffalo Bills game go. We do a lot of things good offensively, then we come to that game and we hold back. A lot of the under center, a lot of the play action, the boots, and the nakeds that I liked from this offense, we didn't do Sunday. I kind of expected that. It was heavy shotgun, heavy running from the gun, which we know that's not the best way this team operates. And then we go into the playoffs and we go back to the things we do like to do, which is being in that single back, getting under center, a lot of the nakeds and boots and screen game more involved. A lot of things we want to see the offense be more effective we'll do. I don't know why they continue to do this song and dance of holding back in the regular season. Then in the playoffs, they give it their all, and then we handle business. So if that's the case, then so be it, DG. This kind of like our ritual. We lose a game or a couple in the regular season this year more often than we're used to, based off the injuries and the suspensions. And our fans overreact. They're supposed to. When you're a dynasty, like DG just stated, and you've won this many games, you're not supposed to ever lose a game. Ain't that right, DG? You're supposed to go undefeated every year, allegedly. Yeah, so that's how the season goes. So I don't really you would think, fellas, like as much winning as we've done for the last 8 years, people wouldn't get as bothered as by a regular season, win or loss. I don't care, because we could be undefeated right now. Nobody would care unless we finish our job in January and February. So being 5-4, whether we be 9-0, it doesn't bother me, because the offense has gotten back to the level that I wanted it to be before the Rashee Rice injury last year. This is how explosive the offense should look. The defensive line in the pass rush is still an issue. I agree with DMac there. I wanted them to address it. I wanted them just to bring in another edge rusher to give us more juice. But if Joe Cullen's going to will his guys to get into the quarterback, then hey, so be it. So we'll see. If we die by the sword, you got to lay in the bed that you made. So defensively, and I think I told DMac this. I don't know if I put it in the group chat. I think I laughed, because I was like, if they put Drew Tranquil on Dalton Kincaid this week and he cooks him, I'm going to laugh, because you added Jeff Bossa for that role. You got rid of Justin Reed for Jaden Hicks for that specific matchup. And up toward the Kincaid game, no tight end has went off on us. And lo and behold, who was on him on third down? Drew Tranquil getting cooked on a corner route, wide open, barbecue chicken. I laugh, because I'm like, you Spags, you do this to yourself. You know Drew's not good in coverage. I'm not showing you anything you don't know. So that's why I can't get mad, fellas, because they know what these guys do and don't do well, and then you put them in positions where they don't succeed. We don't want to see a Chamari Carter in the slot. We got less of that. We don't want to see Drew Tranquil lined up on linebackers. We got more of that. I'm like, so what was the point of doing this again? Just an experiment? You want to see something? I don't know. I laugh, because Spags know what he's doing. That's why I don't get upset, because he knows what to do. So I'm not really crashing out. I laugh at some of these things, not laughing because I don't care. I'm laughing because it's a song and dance with Spags. Coming out of the bye, hopefully we do get more Jaden. Hopefully we do get more Jeff Bossa on athletic tight ends. We'll see. But we know the adjustments will come. We know more snaps will come for younger guys, but it's all a part of it's a long year. We still got another half of the season left. But overall, I'm like at a 5. I'm right in the middle. Not crazy height, not crazy low, level head.
So
no, go ahead, David.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. If you can say something, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm at a 1. I feel like that, one of those scenes in Friday Night Lights, Odessa, Texas, when they
Booby.
lost Booby Miles for the year, and everybody was panicking. And then the Permian Panthers still went to the state championship.
Shout out to Permian Panthers, baby.
You know,
Petty, what up, boy?
I do in a sense like think that this team could they have afforded to make a move to try to improve the roster at the deadline? Sure, you know, but if they feel like in that room that they got the guys that can do this, and they've proven to you that before, then I have no choice but to believe them at this point. So it ends up coming down to a point where I've been saying it all week. They have to coach better. They got to play better.
And if you don't believe it, stop watching.
If you're not with it, then just turn the TV off because
which we know you're not going to do.
At this point, there's no reason for you to be watching in the first place. Maybe I'm just the type of person like I love when a little adversity comes around just because it really shows you what kind of team you really have. And I think when your backs are against the wall and when you have to actually go out there and have something to play for, you tend to play a little bit better. So I think moving forward, there's 9 weeks left in the season. The season's not over. You're 5-4. You still got everything in front of you that you want to go get. You got to go play better, and you got to coach a lot better to this point. So, I'm not panicking or whatsoever. Things could be a lot better. There's some games, of course, you would like to have back. I think you guys all said it. That Jaguars game now looks like, it's an asterisk because you would love to have that game back at this point. But
those are the two most annoying losses.
It is what it is. I just didn't understand that the ultra panic after this Buffalo Bills game. Like, you lost to a good team. It happens. They're a good team for a reason. Like, how many years has Buffalo missed the playoffs without Josh, with Josh Allen?
Josh Allen been there? No.
Yeah. Like, so what else did you expect?
They won the division 5 straight years for a reason as well.
Right. Like
they were a favorite to win it again this year.
It doesn't matter who they necessarily had out there. I know their defense was a little bit banged up and things of that nature or whatever. But that's a good organization and a good team. Just the same way that their fans would probably say if we had some guys banged up or whatever, that they would still expect a very close game because it's a good organization led by a good coach. So at the end of the day, you lost, move on. Bye week is here now. Make the adjustments and let's go, play some ball after this.
I'll say personally, I would put my panic meter kind of at CJ's kind of at a 5. And the majority of that exists for 2 reasons. One, the issues that this team has, I've seen pretty much since the summer, middle of the summer, and I've known that these are inherent as far as the team is concerned. And so it's not necessarily something that's new that this team is going to struggle rushing the passer. I expected that. Like, that's not surprising as far as that is concerned. I knew Drew Tranquil was not good in coverage because I watched it all last year. I saw that. So I knew that was going to be a weakness for certain teams as well to be able to take advantage of. I knew this team, if it didn't do the game plan things on offense to be able to get under center and run the ball, was going to struggle in certain matchups versus defenses. Especially defenses that said, we're going to go ahead and just throw dime at you the entirety of the game.
And you decided to stay in shotgun, dummies. like
the entire game. And so none of that, that's the reason why the panic meter on that is not higher. But the reason why it is at a 5 is because the Chiefs now have a very slim margin of error in a lot of ways. They have important AFC games coming up down the stretch, a lot of important AFC West games coming up down the stretch, in which they are 2 games back of the Denver Broncos, a game back of
Denver and LA. Yep.
Right. 2 games back of both Denver and LA at this point. Only 2 to go with Denver, but only 1 to go with LA. And currently out of the playoff picture behind some teams like the Chargers, obviously currently, and the Jaguars that they don't have the tiebreaker with from that perspective as well that you have to keep in mind with. So it is slim margins coming out of the bye week, in which you obviously have the Denver and Indianapolis Colts coming up right after this. And so that is why I have a moderate level of panic from that standpoint. That being said, I still think that this is a team that when it does have the proper offensive game plan, is not trolling against the Buffalo Bills, can punish teams on a consistent basis on the offensive side of the ball, which will help out the defense. And they can have an efficient and effective run game. They can be explosive as far as the pass game is concerned, and obviously play ball control if needed as well. And the defense can cover well, and it may have weaknesses even still, obviously, as far as rushing the passer is concerned. But that just means that Spagnuolo sometimes may have to live in the gash or be gash type of world that we've seen him live in before. And I would say in a better position coverage-wise to do so than they have been in years past. So that's kind of my general feelings as far as this team is in this particular moment as well. And so along those lines, let's talk about really the only big piece of Chiefs news that we did actually got in between the last time that we talked to you guys. Josh Simmons has returned. Obviously, has been a month-long discussion. A lot of, in my personal opinion, idiots not understanding that their jobs rules do not apply to multi-million-dollar athletes. Sorry to tell you guys that's the real world. Josh Simmons had to deal with a family situation. He has dealt with that over the last 4 weeks. This is something that came up before that Jaguars game that he ended up playing in, and then had to go away and deal with this situation. He is fine. He is healthy. He is back in the building, preparing over the bye week, in which a lot of guys are away, as we have seen from his work ethic level. Obviously, the rehab from that injury was in the building a lot of times over the summer to make sure that he was ready to go week 1. He is back in the building getting ready to see, and obviously we will find out in due time if he's going to be able to play that first game out of the Denver Broncos game. Josh Simmons is a significantly better left tackle than Jalen Moore, and that is not a slight to Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore filled in amicably for what
great job
at the time.
Thanks.
We just saw some of the weaknesses, obviously going through his chest and things of that nature, that he has athletic limitations, just the reality of the situation. Sometimes he does have those issues with power, and that got him a few times, but ultimately in the stretch, Jalen Moore did step in, play the position well. Chiefs went 3-1, which they really had to for the purposes of their season, and good job on Jalen Moore. So Josh Simmons, obviously back at left tackle. We'll talk about this really as it pertains to the matchup with the Denver Broncos when we have some more clarity on it, but did want to say that. Now, as far as the trade deadline recap, there were times in which over the last 48 hours in which the Chiefs have been connected to Bradley Chubb. That was talked about as far as Nate Taylor was concerned. Ultimately did not come to fruition. There was a lot of heavy talk about some with Jermaine Johnson, really not that much necessarily. There was also obviously the big headliner in a lot of ways of Breece Hall. And the real concrete reporting that we have gotten is that the Jets were asking for a 3rd-round pick. Nobody ultimately met them at that price of a 3rd-round pick. The Chiefs had a 4th on the table that ultimately could have become a 3rd, according to some sources. And the Jets balked at that offer, chose to keep Breece Hall, who has an expiring running back from that perspective. The Jets, of course, were extremely active during this trade deadline, trading away one Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks to those Indianapolis Colts, 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell to the Indianapolis Colts.
Boy, I know A.D. Mitchell's sick. You went from catching passes in the Colts offense from Daniel Jones. Now you got to go with the Justin. No disrespect to Justin Fields. I'm not
no. But
just the fact that,
to be fair, he wasn't really catching passes because he couldn't.
Well, yeah, they benched him after that drop. Yeah, that drop. But just the fact you went from like a 7-2 football team to team probably picking number 1.
But he did go from Indianapolis to New York though. To be fair,
the off the field life much better. Football life. He may be a little.
But hey, he's got a chance to revive a career that, funny enough, they had been going back and forth over him and Xavier Worthy during the pre-draft process, and ultimately he slid down draft boards and never really found a way to make an impact for the Colts. And so now he gets a chance to really make an impact for what is a terrible Jets wide receiver room outside of Garrett Wilson. A few other deals that got made. Draymond Jones, edge for the Tennessee Titans, who's more of a run defender than a pass rusher, got traded for a conditional 5th rounder. The other big deal that really the other 2 big deals that got made. One, Quinnen Williams, who I didn't think was going to be on the table, but the Cowboys gave him an offer that they couldn't refuse. Got traded with Mazi Smith, 2027 first rounder and a 2026 second rounder to the Dallas Cowboys. That's a massive deal.
That's a great deal for New York. My goodness.
Yeah.
First and a two? Jesus.
The Jets got great deals for Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner, no doubt about it. And then Jalen Phillips, my personal favorite trade deadline target, the best pass rusher on the board, went for a 2026 third rounder from the Philadelphia.
He just had to go to them niggas, bro.
Yeah. I mean, and this is ultimately something that I wanted to say within the confines of this trade deadline, and then I'm going to ask you guys' general thoughts. The reality situation is we were just never going to be able to outbid the Philadelphia Eagles for Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
It's reality. They had 3 third-round picks. They could have chosen an early one if so needed. And they just had that advantage over us that we didn't because we had the limited amount of picks. And ultimately, that is something that we had to deal with amongst this trade deadline in general. I'll give my quick thoughts.
Dude, damn.
I have been very vocal, obviously, with the last 48 hours. I am not broken up over not trading a third-round pick over Breece Hall. I do not believe that the difference in winning a Super Bowl for this team is Breece Hall. I don't feel that way, and I'm never going to value a rental running back that highly, and not one certainly.
Would you just say DMac rental? He's not. Yes. Who wouldn't resign him, bro? Like
just not one that is going to be. I don't get me wrong. He's a very good player. I don't want to take it away from him, but he's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Jonathan Taylor. He's not Saquon Barkley.
He's not Bijan Robinson. He's not none of them guys.
He's not an elite running back. He's a good running back. So that for me was the bridge too far. I think that they were honestly being a little generous, giving them a fourth pick. And the Jets were stupid to not take it. Jets did a great job ultimately. I'll just say that. But that's a miss on my part. Could you have outbid a little bit for Draymond Jones? Sure. Does that marginally change your pass rush? Maybe. No, now, could you have made a different move for Malik Collins? I don't know. For Jerome Ford, a lesser running back that would have been a small pick swap. I don't know if those moves were out there. That's certainly a fair criticism. Reality situation for me is I'm not jeopardizing my future because of mistakes that I made in April previously.
Exactly.
I think that they took swings at the running back room, specifically Elijah Mitchell. There could have been other cheaper running backs that did not end up working out, which is a big thing. They committed certain resources to the defensive line that got ruined, in my opinion, by Steve Spagnuolo, and they didn't work. And I'm referring to Omar Norman a lot, and I know people will think I'm unfair in saying that, but I do truly feel that way. And maybe they could have committed some different resources from that perspective. Reality situation is there's nothing out there that I have heard as far as a deal that happened that I'd say, hey, the Chiefs absolutely missed out on this opportunity from my personal perspective. So the question I ask you guys, A, is there any of those deals that you have heard? And then B, how do you generally feel about how this trade deadline went down, maybe as it pertains to the Chiefs and then the entire
NFL? Overall, the biggest deal, I don't mind the Sauce Gardner move for the Colts. They actually should do that. Now, did they get a lot of value back from it from the Jets? Absolutely. You got 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner. I like Sauce Gardner, but he's not the best cornerback in football. I don't think he's even in the top 3 cornerback in football, respectfully. So the fact you got 2 ones off him, and I think he's 25, 26 now. So they got his deal done already. So For the Jets, they got great value. And for the Colts, in their mind, is Daniel Jones ever going to play this good again like he is now? Probably not. So in their mind, you have to capitalize while he's hot right now. If this is the best variant of Daniel Jones we're going to get, I understand that move. The Eagles, their pass rush has been non-existent this year. They tried to bring back Brandon Graham, who's almost 40 at one point. That's how desperate they were for pass rush. So I understand why they would go get Jalen Phillips. That makes sense for them. Us over using our assets, like DMac just stated, for Breece Hall does not make sense for us because Breece Hall is not going to be that much of the margin to make us a better football team. The running back room is not the issue for this team. Does Breece Hall make us better? Absolutely. Is that going to be the reason why we win or lose games? No. It's going to come down to pass rush and getting to the quarterback. That's the biggest room I wanted to see us make a move in. Bradley Chubb would have been the guy, if not Jalen Phillips. But I know at the deadline you have to overpay, i.e. giving up 2 firsts for Sauce Gardner is a reach to me from a value standpoint. But for the Colts situation, when are they ever going to be in this position to A, win their division, or B, try to compete for a number 1 seed in the AFC? It's probably never going to happen again as long as you have Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson all still healthy and in their primes. The Colts, we have to strike while the iron's hot. So I get why they make a move like that. We can't make moves like that compared to other teams because we know we're going to be in contention every year. The Colts aren't going to be in contention every year. They know that. So they have to basically prioritize certain positions that they can't do in the draft or in the offseason, and you overpay during trade deadline because it's the deadline, and they know you need players to make your team better for the now and not the future. So I'm not upset that we didn't overpay for any players. I expected us not to do that because we know we don't have that many picks and that much cap space. So I was hoping we could have got on the margins, maybe like a Malik Collins or someone. But all of the big name guys probably weren't going to be available. That's why I was kind of, delusional dreaming. Hey, if Christian Wilkins, I know he has a lot of off the field issues, but if he's available, the kid can play. I know he's weird. I know he has some stuff going on, but he can still play football. And at the end of the day, I know we've all signed players before who have off the field issues. He can play football. And putting him next to Chris Jones, I don't care what he does off the field, he makes us better immediately when he steps on the field. Now, is he healthy or not is the question. But that's the move that I was thinking the most realistic because, A, you don't have to give up assets or pay a lot of money for him, and he can come and have an immediate impact. So that's where my head was during the deadline. So no move that really pissed me off or nothing like that. Everything that happened kind of made sense for a lot of other teams for sure.
Yeah, I agree. There was nothing really, too shocking to me. I think if you were going to get anything, it would have been a pass rusher at the deadline. But obviously, we all seen what the price was for that. There was a lot of calls on Bradley Chubb, but obviously the Dolphins felt that the offers weren't good enough and ended up keeping them. Which
they're going to overcharge. Is what you're supposed to do.
Which kind of surprised me because you were willing to let go of a younger player versus the older player,
the older one
who's on your team, or whatever. I would have thought Bradley Chubb would have been the one out the door versus Jalen Phillips being the one out of the door. And another thing about Jalen Phillips too is like he's dealt with 2 catastrophic injuries, in his career. So to sit and say that there's no risk in this, like there's a risk in every trade.
He's going to a cold weather city now.
Every decision you're making, anything like that, even with the Colts with Sauce Gardner, like you give up 2 first-round picks for a guy that right now I guess you would say that's in his prime, but at the same time, in a couple years you may be looking up and needing those 2 first-round picks if it doesn't work out. So there's risk in everything, and I agree with CJ's point about the Colts. Like you got to maximize your window when you got it. Like you don't know how well Daniel Jones is going to be playing, 2 years from now. So might as well go for it right now. So I don't blame the Colts organization at all, Ballard and them for doing what they did at the deadline. The Cowboys situation I feel like was something that they put their own selves in. Their defense sucked, and at the same time they knew getting rid of Micah Parsons was a mistake. At the end of the day, so now you're trying to overcompensate for something that you lost. Is Quentin Williams is good of a pass rusher as Micah Parsons?
So it's Micah, a first and a second, and all you got back was Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams.
Yes, yeah.
Jesus Lord.
And you're still gonna probably need an edge rusher going into next year. So I think for the Chiefs, you put your offers out there and you see what's out there, and I don't think Brett Veach just sat on his hands and didn't call around and see what was going on. But at the same time, I know that if we're gonna continue to have this going forwardness of level of success or whatever, I know that I'm going to need those picks at some point in time to keep this thing going. So I trust, like I said, I trust and believe. Like I was telling people today that Brett Veach and Andy Reid know more football than I do. They know more scouting and know more about transactions in this league than I do. So at the end of the day, I have to stay where they're at and be confident that they know what they're doing at this point and trusting the guys in the room that they have right now to be able to get the job done. So trade deadline is fun. I know a lot of fans get excited for it. Up until a couple years ago, bro, we didn't even see these many trades at the deadline. The NFL trade deadline used to be whack.
Used to be dead.
And now, of course, it's a lot more exciting at this point, because I think people are starting to realize the impact of what these trades could potentially do for you. But it's risking all of it. So we'll see where it goes. And I think that it's a lot of football still left to be played.
Yeah. And the obviously, it is something to be said for the future aspect of it. And We will have the offseason conversation as far as Brett Veach and his draft hit rates compared to some of the other GMs in the National Football League. But I do think that's more of an offseason conversation. But, just in general, there's a rookie third-round pick that was nominated as the second best rookie cornerback to start off this year, according to Dane Brugler. And that is Noah Williams. And he played very well on Sunday, in my personal opinion. So, hey,
it was the result of a trade.
Yeah, the third rounders are somewhat valuable, I guess, as people have acted as if they are not, I guess. So you don't have to give a long soliloquy on this. Just confidence in Brett Veach as a GM of this team. I think he's good. I think you can say he has flaws, as really all GMs do. I think there are some things in which the Chiefs fans blame him for that are really hamstringing him as far as the coaching staff or the ownership is concerned. That's just me. But where's you guys' confidence in Brett Veach?
Still high.
Yeah, like
still top 3 GM. So.
Right? Why would I waver on anything? Like, has he had mistakes in his? Yeah, of course. Like, he has hit on every pick. You're never gonna hit on every pick, but he's one of the sole reasons why you've had this amount of success in this amount of time. He orchestrated one of the, I feel like, in my opinion, Chiefs history, one of the gauziest, gutsiest trades you could ever do at a point in time, and trading off where it's probably going to be a potential Hall of Fame receiver in Tyreek Hill, and having the nads to do that at that point in time was insane. A lot of people are going to be upset at you, and you got to be able to turn it into something. Look what he did.
Made it work.
And a lot of people are saying he's still living on that 2022 draft class and blah blah blah, and that's the only draft. Like, I don't want to cuss, but get the F out of here. Like, if that's what you think, that he's living on at this point in time, like, you haven't been watching football long enough. So my confidence in Veach is still high. I think he's honestly been one of the best people we've had in here that's been really good with the financials as well too. And where he signs his contracts and deals and things of that nature. Has he had some bad contracts? Sure. You want to give me the Anthony Hitchens contracts? All right, cool. You still got a Super Bowl ring out of that. You want to give me the give me another one. What's another bad contract he's had?
Bad contract, Hitch. I mean, Wilson, the whole linebacking core was really bad.
But all those guys have rings on their fingers. They're all on the team. I mean, and I'm not saying that they're the sole reason you won a Super Bowl, but they're a part of it. Whether you like it or not, they've done their part on being on helping you win rings at certain points in time. I seen people talking about the Kadarius Toney trade or whatever. Kadarius Toney helped you win a ring, whether you like it or not. Whether
he made big plays.
Yeah, whether you think it was slim in what he did here in his time in KC, he helped you win a ring. Without his punt return in the Super Bowl, he helped you win. You don't win the ring. Without his touchdown in the Super Bowl, you don't win a ring. So I mean, I know people want these guys to come in and put up gaudy stats and have all these numbers and accolades or whatever, but it only matters if they go out there and make a play here or there to help you win. So my confidence is high in him. I still believe moving forward that he's the guy for the job, and I don't understand the amount of hate that he gets, especially when he's not the one always making all of the decisions. So, some of that blame has to go to a particular guy that y'all don't like to really talk about that much in your head coach.
They make decisions too. Spags makes decisions on certain players. DMac stated, like, it's not always on the GM for every decision that's made. If coaches don't believe this player can be effective here, they may pass on the guy. If the owner doesn't want to dish out certain monies for guarantees or contracts, they may pass on the guy. It's not always the GM that gets the final say-so as far as whether we trade for a player, sign him in free agency, draft him. It's more than one person in that room that's making decisions. So you can't blame the GM for just because he gets the most face exposure, whatever you want to say, for being a GM. GM doesn't get the final say on all these decisions. So got to be logical with a lot of these things that are happening in that war room when they're making decisions on trades, free agency, or draft picks for sure.
Yeah. So with that being said, we get to our midseason roster review, and a part of this bye week coming at the right time in many respects has to do with this aspect of it, of being able to look back and see where things do end up standing. So we're just going to do a position by position. I'm interested to hear from you guys' perspective. Do you think that Mahomes is performing at, above, or below as far as expectations are concerned? Obviously, it still is one of the favorites for MVP, but obviously was the favorite going into last week's game, in which he had a historically low completion percentage for himself and a historically high pressure rate as well. I think that you could say that was not a good game from Patrick Mahomes. Overall, as far as the season is concerned, after a shaky start in which he tried to put the team on his back a lot with a lot of the scrambling and a hot middle portion here, how do you feel about Patrick Mahomes relative to expectations?
Great.
He's playing above for me.
Yeah, I think he's playing above where we probably expecting him to be, and I think a lot of that is really indicative of how good the offensive line has been up until this point, up until pretty much the Buffalo game. So we all said it, when you're able to give Patrick Mahomes time and be able for him to dissect and things that are going on out there. He's the best quarterback in the league, and he's proved it and played like it. Does he have his flaws at points in time? Yeah. And has he had a bad game here or there? Yeah, sure. There's nobody in this league, no more quarterback in this league that's going to be perfect or whatever. But there's no other quarterback in this league that I'd rather have or trust than 15 at this point. So,
yeah. I got a high confidence in him. I think he's performed maybe at expectations. It's hard to necessarily, I suppose, perform above his expectations. But he's been good. Running back wise, this is obviously a point of contention within Chiefs Kingdom, particularly coming off of obviously the trade deadline. We knew that this was a weakness. I said before the season this was a bottom 5 running back room, and a lot of people had an issue with it. I just didn't understand it. But, as we got to the trade deadline, I suppose some people have come around on that. I think Pacheco started to look like his old self, which is something that I thought was a nice development. Obviously, unfortunate that he missed this last game due to that MCL sprain. And we'll see necessarily after what will be technically 3 weeks of time in between the games for him, how much that helps him get back to where he was, and particularly the under center stuff that was looking nice. Kareem Hunt has been great in his role, pass protector, obviously the short yardage stuff. And I thought he ran well on Sunday when having to get thrust into a little bit more of a role that was necessary. Bashard Smith has been pretty much exactly what I expect him to be, a receiving threat, a gadget type of player. And I like the usage of him. He hasn't necessarily shown me not much on the ground, just pure running wise, but that's to be expected for the type of player he is as a 7th round running back. The disappointment is that Elijah Mitchell is just nothing. And you have to say that pretty decisively now, given the fact that this was an opportunity to get him on the field. And even though his wife does say that he's healthy on Twitter, they elevated CEH and left him inactive. So Elijah Mitchell being nothing, I think Pacheco has performed maybe slightly above my expectations. And I know people will have an issue with that. I'm saying my expectations for him. Kareem Hunt has performed at my expectations. Bashard Smith's performed at my expectations. So that's kind of my feeling on the running back room. Obviously, this is now going to be the running back room moving forward. How do you guys feel about it?
I fully expected this to be the running back room after the deadline. I expected no moves, honestly. The infatuation that the fans have with improving the running back room, they kind of showed you how they felt about that position in the draft. There were plenty of guys in the draft that were probably marginally better than the guys we had in the room currently. They could have been more aggressive in that, and they chose not to. So I always felt if we're going to make any adjustments or improvements in that room, it would be in the offseason. So I never understood the desperateness from our fan base about improving that room, because I knew they were never going to do it at the deadline. That's more of an offseason move for me. I think Pacheco, like D-Man said, has performed above his expectations. Glad to see him healthy because I know he was dealing with the ankle and the ribs last year. So for him to be looking like his old self, he has the burst. His vision's gotten marginally better from years past. So I think he's improved. Kareem's been amazing in his role. He carried this offense like a month last year. So I think the fact that he's been so efficient and one of the best short yardage back in football this year has not surprised me not one bit. He's been amazing on the goal line for us. He was like that last year. So Kareem's doing everything I expected and more for his workload. And Brashard is slowly getting more involved in the offense every single week. Definitely want to see his touches go up, which they should, given the fact that I expect them to give Pacheco maybe another week off, but we'll see. You have to buy how he's feeling if they want to roll him out there or give him another week to get healthy to be 100% for the playoffs. But the running back room overall, it is what it is. If we want to be better, it'll be an offseason move. So for now, we just have to roll with what we got, honestly. But I do like the way we're using everyone. I think everyone has a designated role. Pacheco's your first down back. You bring in Kareem for short yardage. When it's second and medium, maybe third and long, or even first down, you want to bring in Bashar for a couple specialty plays or get him involved in the passing game. I love his role so far. I think the running back room, it is what it is. It's not a great, it's not the worst running back room, but it is at the bottom right now. But I think that investment or improvement will be in the offseason. So just got to roll with what we got now. So, but there is ways to use it though. So if we use them properly in the ways we expected them to do, they'll be fine. It's good enough for us to win. Can we win with this room? Yes. Does it need improvement? Absolutely. But it is good enough to win with, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is the Elijah Mitchell thing was a mistake. You could have signed guys like J.K. Dobbins or Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, no disrespect to Elijah or his wife. Like, I'm not trying to say anyone should lose his job, DMac, but respectfully, bro, he probably should have moved on after training camp. Not saying he shouldn't play in the NFL. I just don't think he should have been here. He doesn't benefit us. Just kind of,
and he's not going to get an opportunity as well. So
I never saw the benefit of him signing. I'm sure he can play. I just don't want to disrespect his family or anybody who's watching or anything. So. Yeah,
I mean, Javonte Williams also I thought would have been a better bet given the age aspect of it too. So it's a tough situation there. That you completely swing and a miss on Elijah Mitchell. I personally did not understand why he had a 53-man roster spot. It just didn't make much sense to me after training camp or training camp and preseason. I didn't see anything that necessitated him having that spot. We'll get to the whole offensive tackle situation too as well. But I think that it's just ultimately a mistake and a swing and the miss. DG, you got anything on the running backs you want to add?
No, not really. I mean, I agree with y'all. The Elijah Mitchell thing still kind of baffles me at this point. Like they said, no disrespect to him or his family or anything like that. Just don't really understand and this is more for the organization side of it. If they're not gonna play him, if they're not gonna do anything, why is he here?
And you knew you were gonna bring back Clyde. Then what's the point of signing Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah. Like it just doesn't kind of make any sense. And I'm pretty sure he's sitting there wondering like why, at this point am I still here or whatever? So. Ultimately, I think the best thing should probably be to let them part ways and he go, be able to sign with somebody else that'll probably be able to give him some time or whatever. But yeah, it is what it is. I still think we can win with this group. I still trust this group. I love what we've gotten out of Kareem, especially these last 2 years. We're definitely not the same running back he was when we first drafted him or anything like that, but does provide I feel a lot more comfortable on short yardage downs now. As much as I used to be nervous, man, for 3rd and 1, which was crazy because 3rd and 10 used to never faze me, but 3rd and 1 was just like, oh my god. But now, now you have a lot of confidence, in, especially knowing what Kareem can do, his vision, how skinny he can get, in certain holes and things of that nature. So. But I love where they at. I love how they kind of established the roles between the three. We'll love to see Brashard Smith being used a lot more, especially down the stretch here. I think his explosiveness on the field really shows and it can really help this team moving forward. So, but yeah, I don't have no issues with it or ever. Could it be better? Yeah, it can be. But in the end, all be all, that will all have to be addressed in the offseason.
I think that so I agree with you guys in general as far as this 3 guys rotation is concerned. I think it's important to just state that when they run the ball in the ways that they're supposed to run the ball, as we have continued to say, it looks good. It is again not explosive, which again is it's a ceiling limiting factor as far as the running back room is concerned, and you have to say that. But it doesn't need to be. It's effective. It is efficient. It keeps the offense on schedule. It keeps the defense honest, and at times it also influences linebackers in the ways in which you can use play action as well. And that's what you need this run game to do, because when you're not so A, one-dimensional, B, so quick game focused, and C, under immense pressure, the passing game is exceptional. So you just need an honest run game to go with it. It's just like if you got a pitcher in baseball and you have an electric fastball and a great slider, you just need an honest change up to lefties just to make sure that you keep them honest as far as that is concerned. Everything else can build off of it. So, and they have what they need as far as the running back room is concerned. They just have to use these guys specifically, and obviously staying healthy with the Pacheco aspect is important too. But Elijah Mitchell doesn't really have a place on this roster. I'm not sure why he will continue to be on this roster, but we are here. Wide receiver room, I want to give DG the space to push back on some of the Xavier Worthy narratives. I would just simply like to say Xavier Worthy has been playing with a significant shoulder injury. Since week one, not one that apparently a whole bunch of wide receivers have been playing with, because that's not true. It is not something that is common that people play through. And they are, in my personal opinion, protecting him accordingly with the ways in which they have chosen to do so. My more wide receiver centric critique has to do with the ways in which they've used Rashee Rice, which is back, which I understand to get him in the throws of the offense. I get it. They need to get back to how they were using him a little bit more early on in the season last year, which is the more intermediate areas to really attack defenses and really put them in conflict, because he is their best option to do so right now. And I don't think that they're properly emphasizing that. Now, that may be an adjustment that comes later on. I don't know, but they need to do that. Now, as far as the rest of the room, Tyquan Thornton has obviously been a very nice surprise. I know some people have issues with Tyquan Thornton not playing more. I think him playing 15 to 20 snaps like he's done 2 of the last 3 games, he didn't play much versus the Commanders, which is a little bit mystifying, is a fine number for him. He is a deep threat. He should continue to be a deep threat. I think him and Hollywood Brown have been good in their roles. Hollywood Brown obviously beat Christian Benford one-on-one for that large bomb down the field at the end of the half that obviously did not result in a touchdown, which we will get into next week. And so I think this wide receiver room has been good, above expectations, certainly for Tyquan Thornton. Xavier Worthy may be a little bit below expectations, but you're adjusting for the injury there. That's understandable. Rashee Rice has been very good since he's been back. I want to see him used a little bit differently so he can be great. Juju's been a solid fill-in for the times in which we didn't have Rashee Rice as well. Nico Remigio has done a good job returning when Jack Cochran isn't taking his return yards off the board. So I
didn't do it this week.
That's really. That is my general feelings as far as the wide receiver room is concerned. CJ, do you have any before we allow DG to tell people to shut the hell up about Xavier Worthy being Mecole Hardman?
Absolutely not. I love the way the receiver room is being used. I do expect them to expand more on Rasheed's role. I think that's more of like you don't want to spoon feed him, but obviously he was suspended. You don't want to give defenses too much on how they're going to do, especially with a week off in our bye and how we plan on using him. But I do expect him to be more involved in the down the field passing game the way he was involved last year. But I think for being off 6 weeks to coming into his role now, he scored a touchdown every week. He's been heavily involved, getting 6+ targets a week. So I definitely expect his role to be expanded more, like DMac stated. But overall, the way he's being used, if the pace he's on right now, if he just started the year before, if he started from week 1, he was on pace to do everything he did last year, which was 1,200+ yards, 100+ catches, and probably had 11 to 12+ touchdowns. That's the type of guy he's going to be in this offense when he gets a whole workload. And I would like to also add a side note for anyone that's saying Rashee Rice should not be paid based off his previous experiences on or off the field. I would like to ask you, did you feel the same way about any other said receiver that was in our organization? Not comparing him to Tyreek Hill, but just because he had an off-the-field issue, does that not mean deserves his money, or you don't think he's worth the money off ability? That's the only thing I would give a future question about the receiver room, because I think Rashee Rice is clearly our one. He's going to dictate our offense for years to come when Travis Kelce hangs it up after this year. I think he deserves his money as long as he finishes the season healthy. If you can get him at a discount, I think that's a respectable number. I was thinking somewhere in the market of J-Mo's deal in Detroit, IU deal in San Fran, somewhere in that market. I think Rashee Rice is worth that money, in my opinion. I think he's potentially finishes the whole year. I think he can be a top 10 receiver in this league. People look at me crazy. I think DG and DMac the only ones who agree with me, but I truly believe that's how good he is and how good of a player he can be for this offense, especially with his run after catch ability. So I think he's worth all the value and all the hype and all the EGE and everything. It's been all worth it and then some. And I think he's only going to get better the rest of the year. Worthy's injury was unfortunate, given the fact it happened, the second play of our season. 2 years in a row, we've had a stupid injury to start our year, but we overcame it. He's back. He's battling through it. And I'll let DG talk on that part for him. But everything else I agree with the receiver room for sure. Just wanted to defend Rashee as far as getting his money, and I heard some talks about that on the timeline too.
Oh, I'm supposed to.
On you. I'll pass the
mic
on you, DG. Go ahead,
DG.
Yeah, give it up, huh? Xavier Worthy's cooked. I just, that's where we're at now. He sucks.
We're back at it again.
Tyquan Thornton is better. Number one pick, number one overall pick, or not overall pick, but first round pick. You're giving up on him already, not knowing that he's out there playing with basically one shoulder at this point in time. It baffles me to see the amount of hate that Xavier Worthy is getting, especially off of just one game too, or whatever. In a matchup that I feel like the Bills obviously circled and said that they had the game plan for it if they were willing to put, obviously, who I feel like is Christian Benford their best corner.
For them, probably, but they drafted Maxwell Harrison for
you drafted.
for
you know why you drafted Maxwell Hurston. You know why you went out and you know why he was covering Xavier Worthy. He's the only guy in this league that you feel like can keep up with him stride for stride down the field. All right. So, in a sense, I think that at this point in time, Andy Reid and them, like you said, DMac, kind of protecting Xavier Worthy. They know that how essential he can be for them, especially down the stretch if they make the playoffs, and how much of a weapon he can actually be. I also think the emergence of Hollywood Brown, and which is so crazy to me because this is what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted to see Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy all on the field. We talked about it all last year. How much better this receiving room would be with all three of them at the helm playing in this receiving room. And now you get it, and now all of a sudden, after one game, they suck. It's terrible. Why is Tyquan Thornton not playing anymore? And which when we first signed Tyquan Thornton, I don't get me wrong.
And it was in the middle of the season last year. I remember that.
A lot of people on the timeline were saying, why did we sign him? What did we get him for? Why is he here?
Another fast guy. Another fast guy. Who cares?
He's a failed receiver. The New England didn't do anything with him. Why is he here? And now all of a sudden, he's better than Xavier Worthy. Just like I don't understand it. I don't get it, man. But yeah, if you guys are gonna continue to want to keep hating on one at this point in time, go ahead and do it. Because when he helps you later on this season, like he did last year, especially later on in the season, win ball games, you won't be talking that same talk.
Facts.
He not only did he win ball games last year, he went for over 100 yards in the AFC Championship game versus the Buffalo Bills. He was
with no Rashee on the field.
In many ways, because Rashee got hurt, he was the only real threat that we had out there for a lot of the season last year. And you saw the growth from him down the stretch. If he had not shown growth down the stretch of last year in the ways in which he did, then I could understand some of these talks. But he did. So what you act like there's not an insinuating circumstances as to why he's not doing what he does right now. So I'm frustrated with some of the ways in which he's being talked about. I understand why the conversation has happened, but I think that people are just being intentionally dishonest in ignoring the fact that he has a major shoulder issue that, by the way, he didn't have to come back from.
No.
He's coming back because he wants to try and help and contribute to this team. Like if he was out the rest of the season and decided to for surgery, it would have been understandable. Like that would have been it would have been in many ways probably a safer course of action. But he's toughing it out there to try and help out. And so for fans to be so fickle and idiotic, in my opinion, to throw him under the bus and acting like there's not a reason why it may be a little bit limited from that perspective, I think is stupid.
And when you have one more point, when you have such a deep receiver room, I'm tired of like DG said, y'all didn't even like Tyquan Thornton in New England, and you dang sure didn't like him out the draft because all I heard was the MVS comparisons, which were warranted. He did have great speed. He can take the top off coverage, but he had consistent drop issues and focus drops, which a lot of those have been cleaned up this year. Granted, you're playing with a better quarterback and a better system, and you're more motivated because you're winning games. All those things can change a player's mindset. But overall, when you're talking about wide receiver 4, 5, and 6, which all summer, all I heard about was Hollywood Brown shouldn't play. He's too little. He's not going to make it through a season. Now he's been one of our more productive receivers in the room. And when you have 4, 5, 6 receivers you can depend on, everybody's not going to play every week. Just like DG just stated, there's going to be some weeks Tyquan was getting a lot of reps in the offense when Rasheed was out. When everybody knew when number 4 came back, your snaps are going to get cut. So don't cry now because your best receiver and your best weapon offensively, in my opinion, is back on the field and getting high volume and high targets. And he's producing every week, by the way. I think Rasheed scored a touchdown or 2 in every game since he's been back, getting 6+ targets, and it's well warranted. And we think he should be doing more. So the fact that this nonsense of saying why Tyquan isn't playing, who's coming off the field? You want Tyquan? You want Xavier Worthy to get less snaps? Okay, you want Hollywood? Like I don't get like I know Tyquan can help this room make plays. I'm not saying he doesn't have a role in this roster at all. But to say other guys' snaps need to get cut for Tyquan Thornton is idiotic. I'm not taking targets away from Travis Kelce, the way who's leading the league in yards for tight ends, by the way. I'm not taking snaps away from Rashee Rice, who's scored a touchdown in every game since he's been back and dictating our coverage. So I'm trying to figure out where you think the snap should go. Okay, 1 or 2 deep shots a game to Tyquan is cool. But don't act like he's going to get significant snap count when you have 6 receivers that can all play football and your 2 tight ends. Really 3 if we go 13 personnel. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that there is a conversation to be had in some respects as far as the usage and snap counts being a little bit more consistent. But anybody saying that Tyquan Thornton needs to take other guys off the field, I don't necessarily agree with. Like I said, I think 15, 20 snaps for him is perfectly fine. Played 17 in 2 out of the last 3. I think that's a fair mark to be at. Last tight end room, like you mentioned, Travis Kelce playing very well, better than he did last year, to say the least. Obviously, leading tight ends
last year at this point.
Yeah, leading tight ends and receiving yards to this point. Noah Gray has been good when called upon, maybe a little bit limited in some respects. Robert Tonyan has gotten out there in some 13 personnel sets too. Anything that you guys want to get to as far as the tight end position? I think we just say Kelce has been better than last year, and everybody else has been where you expected.
The Yeti is still the Yeti, man. You know,
we got weapons around him. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, and I think that's helped a lot too. Not having to shoulder the load this year and be the full, only comparable weapon as far as the receiving game, I think has helped out a lot for him or whatever. Still had some issues with catching the ball at points in times, which I hope he cleans up down this back half of the stretch. But yeah, man, Trav has been Trav, and I hope he continues it to moving forward. I don't know if this would be his last year at this point in time, but I think if it is, he's definitely trying to do whatever he can to make sure we go out on top.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair as far as that assessment is concerned. So moving on to the offensive line, I think there's a little bit of an interesting conversation. I just want to kind of do it at least rapid round. Josh Simmons above expectations. Agree?
Way
above.
And more so like the being available part. Like I knew he could play. I was never worried about his talent. I was just worried, are we going to have like a setback in training camp, a setback in the season with missed snaps? Yeah.
Injury availability.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Absolutely.
Non-extenuating circumstances. But yeah, absolutely.
Non-injury. Yeah. This family thing is something we didn't see coming. But from a playing standpoint, exceeded my all of the expectations for me, being available every game, having no setbacks. He hasn't needed any chip help or any major help to compensate his knee injury. He's been playing above expectations for me. He's been healthy, been dominant, been a top 5 left tackle in the NFL this year. And like DMac stated, he'll probably be a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro for years to come. and he's only going to scratch the surface of how good he can be, especially when you get more comfortable in the system and blocking for probably the hardest quarterback to block for, which is Patrick Mahomes, because of the way he extends plays. So all the things that we said about the draft and the concerns have all been washed away from me. So knock on wood, hopefully he's good mentally, something that pray for his family and everything he's going through. We don't know the details, but I would hope, like our fans, like DG said earlier, be more human. I'm gonna try to be calm. I know DG's gonna snap on y'all when he talks. Be more respectful when it comes to players, bro. I understand we love this team. We love our fans. We love how the team makes us feel. But these are humans at the end of the day. That is someone's brother. That is someone's son. That is someone's family member who's a living, breathing human just like you. If you leave work, you don't want people all in your business just because you have to handle a personal matter. It is a personal matter that we don't need to know all the details about until they feel comfortable to let us know. I know they are a public figure. I know their job is something that we watch, but that is still someone's family at the end of the day. So just be more human when you're talking about these players. But go ahead.
Yeah, and you also don't make millions of dollars to play left tackle as well either. You can't do what he can do.
And you would not talk like that if Josh Simmons was your brother or your son. Like, you wouldn't talk like that on the internet. So don't do that to somebody else's family, please.
To the Josh Simmons situation, man. First of all, let me just do this. I owe Josh Simmons an apology, a big apology. When we first drafted him, I had my doubts because I didn't know. It wasn't ever about his talent or anything like that. More so of could he get on the field? Could he sustain being on the field? And was he going to be available? I thought it was a risk, and Veach and them trying to take something, especially after coming off a catastrophic knee injury like that or whatever. I was a little bit nervous. I apologize, Josh Simmons. He has very much exceeded all of my expectations at this point in time. And I clearly think that this kid could be an all-pro left tackle someday in his career. I think he's ascending to that point right now. Just a little bit of snap usage we've gotten from him over this season. Secondly, I will say this. All of you out there, friend of the show, a guy that me and CJ and DMac and all of us have talked to at training camp and on this show here, you all owe Nate Taylor an apology because a lot of you doubted him about the news of Josh Simmons coming back after the bye week or whatever. There was people saying, how you know that's true? How do you blah, blah, blah. Like, Nate Taylor said it, then it shall be done. You know, I don't think that Nate would have came out and said
respect Nate, man.
Yeah, anything like that if it wasn't going to happen, if he's not willing to stamp it and put his name next to it or whatever. So ultimately, I'm glad Josh Simmons is back in the building. I think hopefully, yeah, like CJ said, he's mentally ready to go. That's going to be one of my major concerns coming into these next couple of weeks, just making sure that he's mentally ready to go. I don't think physically there will be any issues or anything like that. I just want to make sure that everything that's going on off the field or whatever is being handled correctly or whatever, so that he can be able to do his job as best as he can on the field. So I'm glad he's back in the room. I kind of feel like that Veach and them kind of viewed that as their trade deadline kind of target or whatever at this point to improve this team. So getting him back is massively huge, just be for the impact of where they're about to, especially against the teams that they're about to play against. Here coming soon because the Broncos you definitely need him for that game for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm glad he's back in the room. And I don't. Did you have any other questions for the rest of the offensive line, or were we just talking about Josh?
We talking about guards or just?
Well, I was starting with Josh Simmons from that perspective.
That's all I gotta say about Josh.
Yeah. I'm just very happy to hear you guys speak so glowingly about Josh Simmons after how the reaction was on draft night. That's all. I've just enjoyed hearing that.
The thoughts about like the dummies, like the injury concerns, all of those people who were with DG in that camp, those are all. Hey, we all make like I never got upset with anyone questioning his injury. That is a major knee injury that a lot of guys don't come back from and be the same. Right. That especially if you're asking a guy to be a day one starter, which is why I had to push back.
I said I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I had to push back of Josh Simmons playing too early. I didn't say he couldn't play. I just didn't want you to put so much on the kid week one. But he was clear. He had no setbacks during minicamp, had no setbacks during OTAs, had no setback during training camp. Me and DG were there daily watching him practice. He looked good against our starters, looked good against guys in preseason. So I had no reason to doubt him. Like, hey, if he can do this during the duration of an NFL season, I know he can play. I just wanted to see if his knee can hold up, something that we don't know. So far, so good. We had a checklist of the benchmarks we wanted to know for Josh. DMac probably update that tweet, probably green check marks across everything. Yeah. So we've done our job as far as Josh Simmons. Now, the biggest thing is just getting him back, like DJ just stated, mentally, something that we can't control. That's something Josh has to go to. That's why I want everybody to be more positive and have more prayers and be more empathetic when it comes to him, because we don't know what he's going through mentally, and you don't know what he's going through off the field, something that we should be more mindful of. That's my only thing.
Mm-hmm. Kingsley Suamatia, I think we all could say also above expectations.
Way above. Absolutely.
Given the fact that some people wanted him benched during preseason. He's played very well. I think he's been really good as far as the run game is concerned.
The whole left side. Well,
so nothing really to say there. Creed Humphrey, been his normal all-pro self, so performing to expectations there. Trey Smith, some people have a little bit of question marks. I think that he's been more at his expectations, not necessarily above. How do you guys feel about that? Quickly.
Agree. Played solid football, not like exceeding nothing, but he's playing at his level. He hasn't been playing terribly, but he hasn't been like the best guard in football neither. He's had some flaws. Still in passing game, run game is still amazing, but he has his flaws normally. So nothing crazy for me with Trey. Just stay healthy.
Yeah. Trey's been Trey. I don't have no issues with Trey at all. I mean, I think we already kind of knew the flaws that he had, especially in the pass blocking game or whatever. But I still think as young as a player he is, he still's got a lot of room to improve in those areas if he wants to. Kingsley has been phenomenal, man, to me, in my opinion.
For what he was supposed to be.
For what he was from where he went from, last year to this year. Making the transition to a different position at this point in time. I know, and Mitchell Schwartz talked about how hard that is to make that transition from tackle to guard. He's taking it on, man, and I love what I do love seeing is how much fun he's actually having out there playing or wherever. You see his personality really show out there on the field and things of that nature, and you could tell he's really having a good time, especially learning this new position and being able to use some of his physical gifts at the guard position right now. So great move. I know the coaching staff was a little bit, adamant about moving him to that spot, but yeah, man, I think that it's worked out tremendously well for both sides.
Yeah. So right tackle position, Jawan Taylor had a tough start. I would say gave us some pressures versus the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, also did not have a good opening game of the season due to penalties. Personally, though, outside of it, well, I would say even including that, I would say he's been a little bit above expectations. He's been really excellent in a lot of ways. And I mean, do you guys agree with that as far as that is concerned for Jawan Taylor's performance so far?
Yeah.
Rough start for sure. Not play wise, like little hiccups here and there, but the penalties were continuing from last year when he started the season. They cleaned that up when a lot of the things were made more vocal, but some things they've been said in the building. You got to clean it up. He has to be better. And then he had a good stretch for a 4 or 5 week span. He wasn't having any major penalties, which I appreciate him for that. And the play has been above average, which is what you want out of Jawan Taylor. We know the contract doesn't necessarily match the play, but from what you're asking him to do, he's played above average football for me. And that's what I can ask for a guy that's more than likely not going to be your starting tackle next year. So for being his last year, for his play, he's been up to par. Not been awful, hasn't been great. He's doing what you asked him to do as far as cleaning up the penalties. He's done that. Now we just have to get him healthy during the bye, and we're going to need him down the stretch to play a lot of good defensively led football teams. Starts with the Denver Broncos coming out of our bye, but overall, I think Jawan Taylor's been solid. Could he have some room for improvement? Yes, but for what type of player he is and the talent that he has, he's been average to me, and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. Oh,
Lord, them boys.
The police.
Get him. He ain't do it. Free him. No, I'm playing.
Jawan is
That was bad.
That's how
a free back, man. That's crazy.
That's how we felt about Jawan.
Talk about Jawan you want to. Them boys gonna pull up. My fault, Jawan. Dang,
man. Jawan, I think I honestly think for as far as the talent and what he can do on the field, Juwan to me is one of the better right tackles in this league. But it was obviously just always cleaning up the penalties or whatever, the mental aspect of the game. And I think that he's really improved and worked on that or whatever. Obviously, he had the penalty in Buffalo. I don't even know if he was lined up incorrect.
I looked at the play. It was
they
very
didn't even show it, yeah. So
very
I wasn't even really mad about it or whatever. I understand it at some points in time they're probably gonna call it or whatever. Especially Carl Jeffers.
Yeah. We will. Oh,
Carl Jeffers, boy.
We'll get into that later. But anyway, Juwan, I think continue to move forward. I think he's still gonna play at this level of where he's at, above average. And as long as he continues to give us that, I'm fine with him being here at this point in time. I think that there was nobody else really out there at right tackle that you were going to find that can come in and play in a pinch, in the way that he has played for you. So, it is what it is. I know he's not perfect or he's definitely got flaws, but I think he fits our system and he's here for the long haul.
So we'll include Jalen Moore here. I think we can say that Mike Caliendo looked like Mike Caliendo.
Yes.
And Wanye Morris also looked like Wanye Morris. It should have been Esapole as the fourth tackle out of camp. Very frustrating. At least he's back.
But he's back.
Fortunately.
Yes.
At least Esapole is back. Jalen Moore. Above expectations, at expectations. I think he's been more at expectations as far as a swing tackle is concerned. I don't know how you guys feel about that necessarily.
Yeah, at expectations, right at the level I thought. I'm glad that Veach was willing to overcompensate at that position. You didn't really know what was going to really happen going towards the draft, so you had to kind of shore up that spot or whatever. And now I think, my opinion, I think you got one of the better swing tackles in the league. A guy who can obviously flip sides for you and play left, play right. Probably maybe even play guard if you really want him to ask him to, at this point in time. So veteran guy, and I'm happy that he's been willing to, sit and wait his time and things of that nature. And I thought he stepped in admirably for us over these last couple of weeks. To really give us a shot to win some games or whatever. So yeah, right at average for him or whatever. So that's what I expected. I think
the overall O line has played above average. They've been one of the better groups in the league. I think this year, obviously, getting with Josh Simmons snaps and obviously being here, but I think they've been a top 5 offensive line in football this year. Obviously, we want to see them get more snaps together, and I think they'll be even better after the bye. All prayers aside for Josh coming back, but when that group's been together, I think they've been one of the best units in football, especially when it comes to protecting Patrick Mahomes. So I think they've done everything that you could ask them to do. I think the investments that Veach has made have returned on those investments. You want to see it continue, but I think so far the ROI for that group has proven dividends, in my opinion. So I think we've done a good job of building that O-line, building depth. We talked about it all summer. Having depth is one of the big things you need in the trenches, even more so O-line. And no team has probably performed that better than us when it comes to having Jalen Moore, especially when Josh Simmons' situation came up that nobody saw coming, not injury, but more so off the field. So I think Jalen Moore has been a great value for us. He's been playing great football at left tackle, given his limitations. But I think having them overall as a group, I would give them a grade. I give them like a A-, if you want to say the Josh Simmons snap. Hell, even for Jalen Moore being here, I'll still give them a B+ or A- based on what they were asked to do in those situations. But I think the O-line's performed great. I think they're a big reason why Patrick Mahomes is having another MVP type season. He trusts his line. He's given time up until the Buffalo game, which is probably one of their worst games up front. But I think overall the O-line's played really good this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they have as well. And I'm excited to see them back as a full group. We haven't seen that in obviously a while now. But having Josh Simmons there on the left tackle side, and even if it has to be Jalen Moore for a right tackle game, but Juwan Taylor's not fully back. But just seeing this group back fully healthy and together is going to be fun because I think that when they're out there, there aren't many offensive lines that are better. I truly do believe that way. And it certainly won't look like it did versus the Bills, where you're giving up 52% pressure rate on all those dropbacks either. Defensive side of the ball is a little bit more perilous, to say the least. Defense tackle wise, the Derek Nottie bet has not worked out. Just got to say that. He's been bad. They brought back Mike Pennell, who I thought was largely okay, not great, and not a difference maker, I would say, but okay, and certainly better than Derek Nottie as far as the first game back for the Buffalo Bills. Chris Jones, below expectations, even adjusting for the amount of attention that he is consistently getting from that defensive tackle position. Obviously, double teams, chip help, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of conversation, obviously, to be had about him and his earnings. To me, they need to help him. And
they bringing that up again? Jesus Christ.
Yes, they haven't helped him nearly enough. And again, he is performing below expectations. That is fair. He's actually been one of the better defensive tackles as far as pressures generated. Brandon Thorne came out with his midseason update to his metrics too. But it's just it's not the normal elite Chris Jones that we have gotten. But even still, it's good enough if you got support around him, which they haven't. Omar Norman-Lott, obviously disappointing rookie year that culminated obviously in the ACL tear. I still think that kind of falls on Steve Spagnuolo. Jerry Tillery has been basically nothing as far as that aspect is concerned. Anything that I said there that you guys kind of disagree with as far as the defensive tackles?
Nope. Chris Jones is still being double teamed at one of the highest rates in the league. We all agree he needed help. That's why I've been kind of banging the table for other guys to come in the D-line group for those additions to make his job easier. But at the end of the day, could he be playing better? Absolutely. But it's also a marathon. I'm not expecting to get Chris Jones' best game every week. It's not realistic because we know you have to manage your body and manage your season, especially we know we're used to playing into January. So if we come out of this bye and we get a rejuvenated, more dominant, a DPOI type of Chris Jones that we are used to, I wouldn't be shocked about that at all because it's such a long season. I can't expect a player to play at 100% at your best every week. It's not realistic, especially when you're playing so many games like this team does. So I think it's part strategic because there were a lot of reps in the Bills game. I'm not going to kill Twin. I'm probably his biggest fan on this app, but there were a lot of plays I didn't see him give his max effort. I don't know if he was looking past forward to the bye, just trying to get to it, but there were a lot. He's getting double teamed, obviously, but there were a lot of plays him getting blown off the ball, where that's not the CJ that I'm used to. So I expect him to be better. I know nobody holds him to a higher standard than himself, but again, the point still remains. Like DMac just stated, we need more help around him if you want to see him be the best version of Chris Jones. You can't expect him to carry the load of this D-line group like he's been doing for the past decade. You have to give him more help. So.
Yeah, and that is unfortunately a difficult piece. It doesn't seem like a lot of help is necessarily on the way from that perspective. But hopefully down the stretch, you do see a little bit better play from Chris Jones as well. So moving on to the defensive end group.
No, this is when we could really break. But George, underperforming, big fella. Especially
I think
he got paid. Yes.
I think everybody has been underperforming.
I agree, but more so him because you got paid.
Is that me or is it? I don't know. I think George Karlaftis is that me? Can you guys hear feedback?
I hear that echo.
Okay. I don't know. That's so weird. Is it me? Hold on, CJ. Keep talking.
Yep. No, I based off and I had this crazy looks bad on me because
I think it's you, DG. I'm sorry.
You gotta.
Do I need to drop?
Mute yourself.
Yeah, just mute for like 2 seconds. Let me see if it. Yeah, it's you, DG.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know what it is.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that everybody's been underperforming to say the least. I think George Karlaftis has gotten slightly better as the season has gone on, which has been important. And obviously he had a very good game versus the Commanders, but it's just not been good enough. Charles Omenihu has been a no-show. Mike Dana has been Mike Dana, which is no pass rush, a little bit of run defense. Ashton Gelati hasn't performed all that well, but he's a third rounder. So it's like, how much can you really realistically expect from him? So it is what it is. And that's why I thought that they needed to add to this defensive line group, very badly. Is there anybody here that you think is not underperforming?
Hell no. Absolutely. Hell to the no. All of them are underperforming. All of them.
Every single last one of you.
Everything, man. That group has to That group's got to play better, man.
That got to be better, bro. Got to look in the mirror.
Charles, I love my guys, man.
Hook them for life.
Love Charles, man. Hook them for life, dog. But you got to play better, fam.
Facts.
Got to play better. I need more. I need more out of you. I need more out of Mike Dana. I need more out of Mike Dana at this point. You're getting paid as well, too. I will say that out of the group, I think that probably George is probably playing the best.
And he's still underperforming.
He's still massively underperforming. There are a lot of times where I just think that George is creating pressure, but not finishing enough. I can't tell you how many almost sacks he's had this year that just I don't know, rattle my brain just because, like, bro, you get there and then how do you not finish? Like, it irritates my soul. But yeah, that group has got to be a lot better. I'm not too gonna harp too much on Ashton Gelati. He's a rookie at this point. I think he's still learning. I think he's shown some spots of some juice at points in times or whatever. But obviously, I can't put too many expectations on him right now. Outside of that, is there anybody else in that group? I think that's it. Like, really, man. Charles has got to play better.
Charles has been the most disappointing, in my personal opinion, just for the standpoint of he was the guy. Well, okay, all of the chirping he did all offseason about not getting paid, not getting a better contract, et cetera, et cetera. So to not have seen that from him yet has been disappointing from that perspective. But he is the guy that needs to step up because you can move him inside, you can keep him outside. So similar to the question about CJ, hey, is this he gets better out of the bye week question? At this point, given the fact of where they're at in this situation along this defensive line, you're going to have to count on him getting better. I don't necessarily have the highest of hopes for that happening, but for an entire room that is disappointing to this point, that is going to be the best silver lining that you can sell me on, is that Charles Menu turns it on over the back half of the season. I don't have particularly high hopes as far as that is concerned. Anything else as far as that, Drew?
Nope, be better. This is a group. There's nobody coming to save you. They didn't make any moves at the deadline. They believe in their group. So Joe Cullen, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, those are the leaders of that room. They're going to have the most to say. Fixed it. We want results. I don't want excuses. We know what it is. We know what this group's limitations are. Like I said, there's nobody coming. There's nobody walking through that door. Frank Clark's not walking through that door. Bradley Chubb's not coming to save you. If you're going to do the job, you have to look in the mirror and be better. Charles Menu has had a lot to say, verbally and on the timeline.
And he's playing for his football life, for the
facts. He's playing for a
pending free agent, and nothing that he's shown so far would suggest that a team should bring him in. So yeah, if you want your bread, go out there and earn it. Because you haven't earned any of it to this point. I will say Christian Wilkins theoretically is a possible addition to this defensive line room. Really,
DMac,
really the only one that could possibly make a meaningful difference, in my personal opinion. That is a current free agent too. He obviously has the foot issue. I don't know where he's at with that. If you kick the tires on that, we'll see. But that's a topic of conversation should that end up happening. Linebacker room, I think, and this is where I want to be very specific in what I say. Nick Bolton has coverage issues. We know Nick Bolton has coverage issues. He's not an all-pro linebacker. He's not on Fred Warner's level. Fred Warner is really the only linebacker I'd put on Fred Warner's level for what it's worth. He is obviously getting paid a handsome amount. He's getting paid for two primary responsibilities. Be good against the run, which he has been. Get everybody else in order, which he has been. Yes, because you want to do your better pass coverage linebacker? Sure, but he's not. And he's not going to be, and that's not necessarily going to end up changing. Yeah, I know that is the thing about TJ, but hey, I don't really care if you can play football. And
there's a lot of guys we've signed TJ that have had off the field issues, so not putting Christian Wilkins above that. So
don't bring the booty.
Hey, there's been plenty of guys that we've signed that have had off the field issues. Christian Wilkins would not be the first, probably won't be the last. So,
okay,
go ahead, D-Mac. Go ahead.
As I was saying about Nick Bolton, I know that is his Mike responsibilities. Your will linebacker is supposed to be fast sideline to sideline
and good
and
in
supposed
coverage.
to help out in coverage. Drew Tranquil can't do either. He is slow sideline to sideline, and he is terrible in coverage.
You're not that guy anymore, Drew.
That is why I don't really care how much Nick Bolton is being paid. I have primary resources for primary responsibilities for my Mike linebacker that Nick Bolton is covering, is fulfilling and doing at the level I need him to do it at. There are primary responsibilities that Drew Tranquil is not fulfilling right now, and it is hurting this team on a consistent basis. He did this last year. I'm not sure why people are, I guess, Will Smith men in blacked it from their minds like he wasn't good last year. The year previous, it was really good. But the reason why it was really good was because he was specifically in the coverage role, and they had him rotating with Willie Gay, who did the will linebacker down-to-down responsibility sideline to sideline. So it is annoying to me to have two players playing next to each other with two distinct responsibilities, one player fulfilling them and still having weaknesses, and the other one not fulfilling any of them and having weaknesses on top of that. So that is my frustration as far as the linebacker room is concerned. I say all that to say I think Nick Bolton has been fine relative to expectations. I think Drew Tranquil has been terrible relative to expectations. Leo Chanel has been good
amazing.
To what we and honestly he's gone above and beyond for how much we've used him really in the edge room and not a necessity really at times. So that's my general feelings on linebacker room. How do you guys feel about it?
No, I completely agree. I think Nick Bolton's doing his job, playing to the standard, if not better. Has been amazing in run stopping, getting everyone lined up. I think Leo Chanel has been the best one out of those three. He's been doing everything from versatility to playing on the line of scrimmage, blitzing, playing three tech at times, playing off-ball linebacker, making plays in coverage, getting interceptions. Leo's done everything we've asked him to do and more, being that joker and that overall versatile guy in our linebacking group. The guy that's getting the most flack and well-deserved is Drew Tranquil. Been slow, hasn't been the same guy since 2022. He's declined, or 23, sorry. He's declined naturally as you expect when you get older. I expect things to be corrected. This is the bye week. This is that point. I need to see more of Jeffrey Bassa going forward. I need to see more of Jaden Hicks and big dime and big nickel spots going forward when you're playing these athletic tight ends that can make plays. We're going to see more of them. We see one of them coming out of the bye, and Evan Ingram. You think they're not going to watch that film and see what Don Kincaid just did? Evan Ingram may get 6 targets in the first drive if they see Drew Tranquil on the field. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect him as a man. I'm not going at him as his family. He is a good player, but he has limitations. So you need to take him off the field when you're going at teams who have athletic tight ends. It is what it is. I need Jeffrey Bassa to play more. This is why you drafted him, to be the future replacement of Drew Tranquil, and i.e. be the Willie Gay role that DMac just stated. So those adjustments need to be made immediately coming through this bye week. I expect that, given the fact the rookies usually start exceeding and start performing better after the bye with a week to perform, game plan. Spags gets you more integrated to the system, and we expect to see guys in the field. So we'll see what Spags does as far as that adjustment, though. But go ahead, DG.
Steve Spagnuolo, man.
The biggest troll on the internet.
I freaking genius, bro. Like, you know, and I feel like I don't understand how you can continuously sit there and watch Drew Tranquil in coverage and just think to yourself, yeah, let's keep him out there. You know, he's although he's getting cooked, Drew knows the system, so we gotta keep him out there. Like if we are 9 games in now, you know, and I understand it, probably not giving Jeffrey Bassa a high amount of snaps, you know, early on or whatever to kind of allow him to get acclimated or whatever, not putting the rookie out there in such a tough position, right? But if you're seeing like, look, physically, Drew cannot keep up with some of these tight ends, and it's just that it's not even from a technique perspective. It's physically. You can just see it physically. You can't do it. You got 2 perfectly capable young guys just sitting on the sideline. I say it every week. I don't understand the lack of use that Jaden Hicks gets. Perfect guy that could potentially play that dime linebacker safety role for you and cover. He refused to use him. He played force. Who watched Dalton Kincaid? And in all respect to Dalton Kincaid, I think Dalton Kincaid is a good tight end. When I say he's one of the more upper echelon tight ends, probably not. But I think he's a good tight end. You sit there and watch Dalton Kincaid just flat out burn you for 100 yards, and just thought, you ain't gonna play Jaden Hicks. Stay on the sideline. 4 snaps. 4 defensive snaps for Jaden Hicks.
Malpractice. 4 snaps is illegal.
Steve Spagnuolo is such a troll, dog. I don't understand it at all. But yeah, moving forward, you clearly have to see. I'm not asking for Jeffrey Bassa or Jaden Hicks to play, 95% of the snaps or anything like that. But Lord, you gotta get to a point where you gotta start seeing, look, man, Drew just can't do what we need him to do all game. We gotta scale it back for him a little bit and allow these younger guys, I'd rather those younger guys be in there and making mistakes than to sit there and watch Drew Tranquil just get flat out beat every time. There's points in times, even in zone, bro, that he looks lost. And it's just like, how do we get to this point and not make a change or whatever? So hopefully, the rest of the linebacking crew, man, Nick Bolton, I think we all know had his limitations in pass coverage, but Nick Bolton is one of the sole reasons you're even able to stop the run at this point in time, especially getting everybody lined up correctly with the green dot or whatever. I think he's one of the best in the league at that. Leo Chanel, to me, is a jack of all trades, and I love how they've been able to use him in certain spots or whatever. So yeah, I think moving forward, the one sole thing you're gonna have to do, and I think it could be a massive difference for them down the stretch, is getting Drew Tranquil off the field, especially on passing downs at this point in time. We'll see.
Whether it is Jaden Hicks playing some dime linebacker snaps, because he may be even a little bit more inclined or equipped to defend the run at this current moment in time, or Jeffrey Bassa, they have to find a way to get better coverage at that second level. It just has to happen because, again, we've seen it specifically on this team in 2023. You can work around a middle linebacker that has coverage limitations. You can do that. You cannot work around 2 linebackers that have significant coverage limitations.
Exactly.
It's untenable. So that has to change. Quarterbacks. Trent McDuffie has been good, really good. Obviously, we saw him more specifically in the nickel in this last game. Jalen Watson has been good, specifically on the outside. Noah Williams at the rookie position has been a pleasant surprise in the ways in which he's really elevated his game. The real disappointment in this room, of course, has been Christian Fulton, who has been not playing. He played a little bit week 1 and then didn't play again after getting hurt. And so he's been a consistent healthy scratch. Some people theorize he maybe dangled at trade deadline. He did not end up getting it. And so do you guys have any specific disagreements with that assessment as far as the cornerback room is concerned? Obviously, Joshua Williams has been depth. Najee Johnson's been IR, et cetera, et cetera.
Noel kind of did the Isaiah Pacheco role, came in and took a grown man's job. I'm not mad about that one bit. You want your young players to come in and develop and show promise, and Noel has done that and then some. Eventually, we all wanted him to be the starter. Did I expect it this soon, to DMac's point? Nope. I thought that would be Christian Fulton. And maybe this point of the season after the bye, Noel's snaps will start to increase, and we would slowly see him integrate into being a starter. But it's been the opposite. He's been the starter since majority of the season, since Christian Fulton went down, and he's played, for the rookie standards, he's played well in that role. And I think he has some room for improvement, but for being a rookie, thrown in to be a starter in the Spags defense, he's exceeded my expectation for what I thought he was going to do his rookie year. So I think he's playing solid ball with plenty of room to improve. The safety room, beginning of the year, was extremely rough. They were out of position, not tackling well, not communicating in coverage, too many busting coverages we saw early on. But ever since, I would say, after the Giants game, a lot of those corrections came in place. One of the bigger ones, Putting Jamari Connor out of the slot, putting Trent back in his natural position, seeing a lot more of Noah Williams, which we've gotten since then. And then obviously Brian Cook playing a lot better as the season is going along. And outside of that, Trent McDuffie's been playing like an all-pro, one of the best cornerbacks in football this year. The only other improvement I would want to see in that room would be like what DG just stated, seeing more of Jaden Hicks, especially on third downs in obvious passing situations when you need athleticism, even more so when you're playing athletic tight end. So I think that's an obvious adjustment, and I hope Spags realizes that. I think he will. But overall, I think the DB group has played solid football, and Trent McDuffie leads the head of the snake. And I think Jalen Watson has having an amazing bounce back year from the way he played last year. I think he's playing really well for us. So not too many complaints from the DB room based off what we had at the beginning of the year. They've improved. Just want to see a couple more tweaks, which I think we'll get before the season, before the playoff season starts.
Yeah, as far as the cornerback room, love what I've seen. I think that Trent McDuffie continues to still be one of the best cornerbacks in this league, which I told a lot of people that he was a top 5 cornerback, and people wanted to argue. I told people he was a top 3 cornerback, and people wanted to argue with me. Now you're being proven wrong. I think that Jalen Watson has been a very, very good serviceable CB2. Obviously had his struggles, beginning of the season, especially in that Chargers game was probably the worst game that he's ever played. But since then has been very serviceably admirable at that CB2 position as well. Noah Williams, like CJ said, took a grown man's job. It just is what it is. I don't think the Chiefs expected him to be this good at this point in time, and it just kind of turned out that way. The Christian Fulton thing is very disappointing, but supposedly Spags has said that, there's a role for him. We'll see how that goes moving forward, or whatever.
Is it on the team?
I hope so. I mean, you're paying him to be here, so you better use him, and then you didn't trade him, so better use him for something. As far as the safety room, I think that, I'm glad they have done a better service to Shamari Connor and not putting him in certain situations of conflict where he has to be the nickel corner, because he's not good at it at all. I think he's better as a true safety, being back there. Jaden Hicks, I've said it over and over again, he needs to be on the field a lot more. I love the limited amount of snaps that you've gotten out of Christian Roland Wallace. I think he's probably your one lone safety in that room that has range to kind of play the deep part of the field. I think he needs to be used a little bit more as well too. And Brian Cook, man, Brian, yeah, he's played well, but Brian Cook probably leads the league in almost interceptions.
And it's always when we play the Bills.
Jay, bro, like,
why is it versus them? You be having to bro,
catch the ball, Brian. Like, I love you, dog. And I would hope that he sees it, bro. Please catch the ball,
please, bro, for my sanity, dog.
I swear he could probably be tops in the league this year in interceptions. He just caught the ball, and he's probably telling himself that as well too. But I think Brian Cook has really played really well, especially in a contract year. I think that there's probably going to be some team that is going to pay him a nice dollar amount at the end of this year to play safety for them. So, yeah, that's really all my thoughts on the whole secondary.
Yeah. I think it's a good summation as far as that is concerned. I want to see more. Again, it's probably not going to be Jeffrey Bassa, even though I really hope it is Jeffrey Bassa. But I think that it's we know Spags is comfortable playing the 3 safety looks. Play the 3 safety looks on important downs and get Drew Tranquil off.
Bruh.
You just got to do it at a certain point. You got to play the diamond.
He gave up that long touchdown to Kincaid and put him right back out there for the next third down. I'm like, I know you fucking lying. I know you ain't out here just watch this man get cooked. Instead, DG's like, yeah, let's do that again. No, let's not do that again. I'd rather see Jaden Hicks take on guards all day in the run game than watch Drew Tranquil get burnt for 20 yards. I would much rather watch that, please.
Absolutely.
And the Bills knew that. That's why they ran the ball with James Cook 20 times, which I fully expected. But you could have done that if you would have stopped him on third down by putting more athleticism. But go ahead, D-Mac.
And Drew isn't some exceptional run stopper either way. We've given up things on the ground. It's not like we're shut down as far as the ground game is concerned right now. So I'm not really all that concerned about a significant drop off in the run game. You got to get better coverage out there because it's just too frustrating right now. So that's it as far as our midseason roster review. Harrison Butker has generally made his kicks recently, so we'll mention that. Matt Araiza did improve as a punter and being
that was my prediction. If we're by the bye week and we're not talking about his missed kicks,
yes,
he's done his job. So Harrison Butker, well done, buddy.
We're fine about Harrison Butker. Matt Araiza has improved as well as far as the special teams is concerned. Get Jack Cochran off this team as well. Sorry, that one I got to say.
Dang, Jack, that's crazy.
So I've got 3
you the
things.
new Dirty Dan.
I've
get him off the field.
I got 7 quick things as far as the panic meter is concerned. 3 on offense, 4 on defense. We're gonna do this rapid fire so we can get on out of here. Panic meter 1 to 10 on the run game. And I want to put this into context of saying that it changes the way that you see the team, where like you think this is something that's going to eliminate us in January or stop us from getting to January.
Panic meter, it's like a 4 for me.
CJ,
run game, yeah, it's like a 3. I mean, it is what it is. Like they're limited. Nobody's coming to save this run game. So for what they have,
they gotta do it.
If you use it the proper way, that's why I'm not mad about the Bills game because they didn't do the things we were doing weeks prior. You use the run game the way it's supposed to be used. Like it's been our phrase, it's effective and efficient. If you don't do that and run out of the gun, then it's not going to be effective and it's not going to be efficient. So the run game hasn't been an issue to me unless they do it properly. So my panic meter is very low, so like 2 or 3. But yeah, nothing for me from the run game.
It's a 3 for me. You just got to do it. The offensive line with the pressures allowed that we saw from the Bills game. Where's your panic meter at?
Probably same 4, especially with Josh Simmons coming back. It's probably at a 3 now. Per se, I think it'll be a lot better down the stretch. So
I'm personally at a 1. It was a backup offensive line as far as I'm concerned. I know Juwan didn't have as good of a game as you would have wanted. I think it looks significantly different if Josh Simmons is out there, and Trey Smith isn't limited by his back issues, in my personal opinion.
Backup O lineman didn't run game properly. That's why the O-line struggled. And you're playing behind the 8 ball. You're playing behind the 8 ball in an obvious passing situation. Doesn't help your O-line. So overall, yeah, my panic meter is like a 2 or a 1 on the O-line. Run the ball better. Get everyone back healthy in a full unit. They'll be fine. So, yep.
Last one on the offense, the usage of the wide receivers.
I think it's been good. I mean, I want to see Rashee Rice used more in a different way. But the way the room is being used, I think it's good. They're obviously saving guys for certain situations, but from what the room looked like from the Raiders game to now, obviously excluding the Blues game, they've been amazing for me. And this is only just scratching the surface of what this receiver group can be once we get more weeks and more snaps and a week off to watch more film and little tweaks of the offense of where we can use certain guys. A week for Xavier Worthy to get healthy, get that shoulder as close to 100% as possible, even though we know that won't happen this year because he probably will need surgery in the offseason. But for the receiver room, for the depth they have, and where we're at now, I think everybody knows their role and how they can be used. So I love the receiver room. I just want to see him be better and just be more technically sound. But from a usage standpoint, I love everything how we're using guys for sure.
Yeah, I'm at a 3. I think they're fine, and I think they'll make the adjustments necessary. Go ahead, DG.
Yeah, same. Not panic.
That's fair. All right, now to the more difficult side of the ball as far as the defense is concerned. Let's talk about the back end coverage as far as the DBs are concerned. Any panic as far as that aspect?
Probably same 3 or 4-ish, you know.
Yeah, I'd say 2.
Same thing.
They're playing McDuffie in the nickel like they should be, and Watson on the outside, no Williams on the outside. So, I mean, maybe depth, I suppose, but I'm fine with where they're at as far as the DBs are concerned. Panic meter for the run defense.
Maybe like a 5. Yeah, 5, 6 in the middle. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been great either. I think there could be room for improvement, and I think it will eventually probably get better. But
yeah, I'm fine with a 5 as far as that's concerned.
Run defense for us is generally outside of the James Cook performance. We haven't really allowed too many guys to have big games on us, so that was probably disappointing to see. But a lot of those things were put on us because we weren't playing with the lead. But I think that the run defense generally has been good, especially in big moments in big games in the playoffs. They show up and stop the run. So I think it's a low, it's like a 5.
It wasn't like it was one of his. It wasn't an easy 100 yards that he just like he just made it look. I think they kind of made him work for it at least.
They did.
Or whatever. It wasn't like the previous week the way he went off against Carolina.
He had multiple 20 yards versus them. Yeah, 200 yards. And I think obviously if we play them again in the playoffs, I think that performance by James Cook will look drastically different. So I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm just being honest about what I see on film.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5 for me. It's not the biggest issue, but I do think it is something that's obviously going to be tested in recent weeks. But if you handle your business on offense and you are able to get off the field more often than not on those third downs, and I think it's fine to give up some ground on the ground too. Panic meter as far as the linebackers are concerned. 7.
High.
It's from Nick Bolton, low. Drew Tranquil, a 10. Bro, he has to. He needs to get off the field, bro. Like
that's why
I think he can't play, but he needs to be off the field. In obvious passing situations, Jeffrey Boss or Jaden Hicks needs to be on the field. Point blank. Period. Not saying Drew can't get any snaps. Not being drastic like that. I'm not putting that much of a workload on Jeff Bossa, but Drew Tranquil needs his snap count. If there's somebody you saying snaps need to be cut, his snaps need to get cut immediately, especially when it's obvious passing situations. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. Like, bro, he shouldn't be on the field. It's just point blank. Period. So. Very high for him. But everybody else, Leo Chenal, a 0. Nick Bolton, 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you guys. It's an 8 specifically because of Drew Tranquil, because I think Nick Bolton is fine. I think Leo's good. I don't know if I trust Spags to make the proper adjustments to get Drew Tranquil off the field on passing downs too, and that's a big part of it too.
God bless you, Drew, and you have a beautiful family. But come on, big fella, come on. Come on. Got to be honest. Got to look in that mirror, son.
DG, did you have anything you want to add, or are you good?
Yeah, I agree with y'all, man. Drew has to get off the field. I'm sorry. Like, please help.
Help me.
Help me, please. Help me.
Smags. You gotta play these younger guys more, dog. I'm sorry. I love Drew, and I think
DG and what the R. Kelly mean. Help me.
He's helped us with them all, bro. But good Lord, like I cannot stand to watch another. I can't. If we go into Denver and we play Evan Ingram, and
I swear to God,
on Evan Ingram, I'm gonna scream. I promise I'll scream, and I'll send y'all the video of me screaming. Yeah,
that boy, he gonna be screaming like Kendrick in the Poetic Justice.
No, I'm with DG. If I see Drew Tranquil in on a 3rd down and Evan Ingram get open, I'm gonna turn my TV off and I'm not gonna watch. I'm like, bro, I really don't care if we win or lose. You want 2 whole weeks and you dissect yourself and you do a scouting game plan in the bye week to see what your strengths and your weaknesses are. You tell Andy Reid, give me a game plan against my defense. You tell Spags to scheme up against your offense to figure out where the weaknesses are to get better. If you watch this film for the first 9 weeks of the season and see the way Drew Tranquil has been playing, and you decide to go back out there on purpose and put him out there on obvious passing downs, I'm going to lose it, bro. I swear to God. I'm going to go Hulk green on Drew. And Spags, I defend you more than anybody on this app, bro. I think you're the best DC in football. Be better, bro. I'm not even about to yell. I'm not about to get my blood pressure up. Be better, bro. Come on, like the experiments are done. It's time to be serious. It's November football. We're going into December. Be better. That's all I need to say.
Last one. Panic meter on the pass rush.
Oh, that shit's high. That's a 7 because like that's
15. 15
is what it is. Like I don't know what you want us to do. Like
help,
help, please.
It's bad. We know what Chris Jones is taking a little bit of a step back from his elite play. Karlaftis has performed below the expectations. You're getting nothing from anybody else right now. It's tough. And so they can cover well enough sometimes to probably get off the field and maybe get fortunate. But like, man, this is going to be hey, you got to send all the blitzes, all the world. It feels like to get a stop at this point, and that's tough. And specifically versus the good offense, obviously, to be specific. But man, it doesn't feel good with where we're at as far as the pass rush is concerned. So I would say that's like a 9 for me on the panic meter. DG says 10. It's fair to say as far as that aspect is concerned. Is there anything? I think we very well hit everything. Is there anything else you guys want to check a temperature on? No? All right. I just wanted to make sure. We'll save the power rankings to next week and everything. And obviously, like I said, we'll go through some specific things as far as the tape is concerned on the Bills. Obviously, prepare for the Broncos coming out of the bye week. We'll have updates on the injury situations and also Josh Simmons' status specifically. Injuries to Isaiah Pacheco. Obviously, Trey Smith dealing with the back stuff. Jawan Taylor coming out of this game. They mentioned that really Jawan Taylor's ankle was the only real issue. So hopefully should be fine moving forward from that standpoint too. Anything else, guys, before go ahead and get on in here?
Steve Spagnuolo, you think I'm playing? You think I'm joking? I'm the nice guy on the show. DG, he'll snap on you. You seen DMac's tweets? You should see him in real life. 10 times worse. I'm the nice guy on the show. I'm the one you want to have as your friend. You don't want to make enemy out of these two. I'm begging you. I love Drew. He's a family man. Help me, please. All that. SOS. Whatever we need to do. I don't care. Drew, I swear to God. I hope he sees this. I'm not even trying to be funny. If I see you out there on third down, I swear to God, bro. I'm sending an SOS. Please, Jesus Christ. Put Jaden Hicks and Jeff Bossa out there. Bro, it's not that hard. We saw you play no snaps, get 4 snaps one week, and take them off the field. Don't know why. That happened. I've seen weeks where you say Trent McDuffie plays no slot snaps. Don't know why that happened, but it did. I've seen years where you play Chris Jones exclusively outside on the edge. Don't know why we did that shit. So I've seen this experiment from Spag before. Not a big shock to me. If you go another 2 weeks with a bye week and you put Drew Tranquil out there in coverage on obvious passing downs, I may snap on you. And I don't even snap on the timeline. I don't even rage tweet like that. Ask these two. I don't do that. I'm the calm one in the group. I'm the one that's level-headed. I try to be as calm as possible. I just don't like to see mistakes being made repeatedly over and over again. So please make the adjustment. I'm not trying to have this conversation again. I don't like repeating myself. That's like one of my pet peeves as a person, even more so as a player. I hate saying the same thing over and over again. Fix it, please. But go ahead, DG.
Please play Jaden Hicks more.
Please, God, please. Come on, bro.
I don't understand. Okay. The Jeffrey Bossa thing, I kind of get. Rookie, got to get acclimated, got to earn your stripes or whatever. Jaden Hicks has been here now for 2 years. You got to play him. Like, why? There's no way you think that Brian Cook and both Shamari Connor are better than him. Play him. Just put him on the field. Please. Because I guarantee you, there are a lot of other teams in this league that would love to have a safety like Jaden Hicks. So just do it. It's not that hard. If he makes a mistake, so be it. He made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes sometimes. You made mistakes in your career. You're making mistakes right now. Just do it. All right? Just please.
And the crazy thing is, y'all want to see what the tight ends have done to us this year before the Dalton Kincaid game? Oh boy. DG, you're not gonna like this. Oh yeah, let me see. Give me a second.
Oh, I know. The Sam Laporta could have had a day if he didn't have a lead.
Oh God, Sam Laporta. Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm getting all the numbers. Go ahead, continue your point.
Okay. I just no. I like I said. I don't. People have had an issue with Nick Bolton on Twitter for really the entirety of his career at this current moment in time. And it annoys me so much because you guys act like there's not a linebacker that is poor at all aspects of his job right next to him. I understand he got paid a lot of money. I get it. I understand it. But he's doing his job. At the very least, he is doing his job. Drew Tranquill's not doing his job. So for the love of God, hold Drew Tranquill accountable. Please, I'm begging you for once to have some level of accountability for the guy right there because you can't allow him to escape. And I'm sick and tired of seeing, 32 this, 32 that, he doesn't cover, et cetera, when this guy isn't doing any aspects of his job well because weak side linebackers are supposed to go sideline to sideline and be able to cover, and he's not doing either of those things. So hold Drew Tranquill accountable. That's my only message.
These are the tight ends said going against the Chief defense. Will Dissly and Tyler Conklin combined for 50 yards. Week 1, we know how ugly that game was.
By the way, the flats are always open. Drew Tranquill's supposed to be able to go sideline to sideline. Sorry,
exactly. But graded since that game, which we all know was kind of a reset game for us. These are the tight end stats. No Goddard when we played the Eagles. So Gal Katera, 6 yards. Tyler Johnson for the Giants, 10 yards. Isaiah Likely, no yards. Mark Andrews, 30 yards. Britton Strange for the Jags, left the game early, 22 yards. Sam Laporta, 55 yards in the touchdown. Great catch. Michael Mayer, no Brock Bowers, 10 yards. Zach Ertz, 16 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 6 catches on 6 targets for 101 yards and a touchdown. Have you seen any pattern in this season of why none of the Titans have went off us until this game? And who did you see on Dalton Kincaid even after the touchdown? He continued to make no adjustments. No Jeff Bossa, no Jaden Hicks. Just put him right back out there again. And what did Dalton Kincaid? Went 100% on his targets and catches for the first 100-yard game for a tight end we've given up in a very long time. And he had a touchdown in the first half, and no adjustments were made at halftime. So, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to repeat myself, but be better. The numbers I just pointed out, up until this game, you've been doing a good job against the tight ends, and ironically, Jaden Hicks had one of his lower snap counts. So there's your data for the nerds. Go DG.
Yeah, nothing. I'm going to have a quick lay to rest, and then we'll get final thoughts before we go in here. I'm laying to rest me ever picking the Chiefs against the Bills in the regular season. I did it this year for the first time in a while. I agree. Going to do it again. I'm not going to do it because clearly they don't want to win these games, obviously, with the game plan that they came out with. So I'm good on that. Before we get just final thoughts before we get out of here, I'm just going to say this. I understand why people are concerned. Yes, I would like them to add pass rush. If they didn't do it, it is what it is. I'm not all that broken up as far as the running back is concerned. This team's 5-4. It has performed like one of the best in the National Football League by any metric that you want to use. They are, amongst the elite as far as EPA per play on both ends. They are, I think, 4th in DVOA, which is, of course, opponent adjusted. So you can't just say, they've got an easy schedule and that's all they performed against. It's not true. So this is a good team. It's a really good team. There is nobody in the National Football League that doesn't have holes, that doesn't have places that you can attack and has flaws or hasn't had good games or bad games, I should say. This team, this is wide open for somebody to win it. So, in my personal opinion, everything is still in front of this team. They have to come out of the bye week, obviously going up against the Broncos on the road, which is a massive game in the division. They have to go face a really good Colts team at home, a huge game in the AFC. But everything is still in front of them as far as what they can earn. So I'm not getting up on this team or saying that this is the end of the line just because they didn't get Breece Hall, in my personal opinion. That's just me and how I view it. CJ, you got anything? And then we'll go to DG for his final thoughts.
I think I pretty much said it all. Look yourself in the mirror. Make the corrections. You got the champions. Act like it. This team has championship pedigree. They've been in too many big moments. I think all the things that we talked about outside of the pass rush ability are things that can be corrected. The pass rush kind of is what it is. You have to work around it. That's the one weakness on this team that I think can be slightly upgraded with the Wilkins move, but overall, it kind of is what it is. Everything on offense on this team can be corrected if you call the game the proper way. Defense, you can make slight adjustments, but overall, nothing we talked about is out of pocket for me. I think everything you want to DMac's point is still in front of you. Just got to be a man and look in the mirror and correct yourself and be honest about your mistakes. We all make them as coaches, players, GMs, but what are you going to do with the opportunity that's given to you? So I think the bye is much needed. I think it's a great time for us to reflect, get away from the game, unplug mentally, get away from football for a little bit. But I think all the corrections that we talked about today are easily attainable for sure for this team. Go ahead, DG.
My last final thoughts are for the EG ears, the Madden Warriors, the Chiefs Twitter trollers. I'm bookmarking you. If this team goes on a run and they end up in Santa Clara and they win it all, you will pay. Trust me. I got my account back and it ain't hacked. You will pay. So just be ready. You better pray and hope that you're right. Because if I'm right, it ain't going to be a pretty day for y'all. Just going to let you know. It's going to be a lot of name calling and a lot of cussing. All right? That's all I got.
All right, fair enough. That's all we got for you guys. Obviously, Tell the Truth will be back next Tuesday to go through the Bills game, preview the Broncos game coming out of the bye week, and any news that ends up coming up. Kingdom Cast tomorrow night. Obviously, be on the lookout for that. No trifecta this week for obvious reasons. Though I don't know. Maybe we'll come out with
We'll do a non-Chiefs one.
Non-Chiefs trifecta. We'll see. We may put that out on Sunday morning for you guys. We did not end up cashing in this game. What did we have?
We cashed the Kareem Hunt carries and we cashed the ATD.
Right. We just
what was our third?
What was the third one? Was it
Taekwon.
Worthy?
Taekwon.
It was Worthy longest reception.
Longest reception.
Yeah.
Had a shot at it, Maxwell Harrison.
Maxwell Harrison. He made a good play.
Yeah, so just missed 2 out of 3 there. But maybe we'll put out a non-NFL one. But yes, like I said, be back next week to discuss some things. I still may do a stay scheming on Taekwon Authority because I think people are missing some of the ways in which he's still being used effectively. So all that being said, appreciate you guys for coming by. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Enjoy the bye week. Enjoy some football without having to worry about where the Chiefs play. Just, take a step back, deep breath. I understand 5-4 is nothing in the world. And as always, peace out, man. Go Chiefs.
Chiefs.